The gun was 3 inches from Maya's face when she realized she was going to die in a Seoul alley wearing paint-stained sandals. Not exactly the glorious ending she'd imagined when she left Accra 3 years ago with dreams bigger than her mother's warnings. Not the story she wanted told at her funeral. Maya Osei, 26, aspiring artist, murdered by men in expensive suits because she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Please, she heard herself say, though her voice sounded far away, disconnected from her body.
I won't tell anyone. I'm nobody.
That's the problem, the man with the gun said in perfect English. You're a witness. Rain poured down Maya's face, mixing with tears she didn't remember crying. Her art history degree was useless. Her 3 years of Korean language classes couldn't produce a single word that might save her life. She thought about her mother's jollof rice, about her little sister Alma's graduation she'd promised to attend, about the unfinished painting of her grandmother waiting in her apartment. The man's finger moved to the trigger. Then a voice cut through the rain like a blade.
민호!
The gun lowered. Maya's knees nearly gave out as she watched a third man step into the alley, young, devastatingly handsome, wearing an expensive black coat like armor. The 2 men with the gun immediately bowed, calling him Sajangnam. Boss. He looked at Maya with cold, assessing eyes, like he was deciding whether she was worth the bullet it would take to kill her. She saw. His voice was quiet, almost gentle. Somehow that made it more terrifying. Yes, Kang Tae-hyun Sajangnam. Tae-hyun studied her for another long moment, rain dripping from his dark hair. Then he said one word that changed everything.
Bring her.
Maya tried to run, but hands grabbed her, and then there was a cloth pressed to her face, chemical sweet, and the world tilted into darkness. That was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks since Maya Osei witnessed a murder at her first art gallery exhibition. 2 weeks since she became a prisoner in a luxury penthouse 40 stories above Seoul. 2 weeks since she looked into the eyes of the Korean Mafia's heir and somehow, impossibly, survived. But survival came with a price. Tonight, Kang Tae-hyun stood in her doorway wearing a blood-spattered shirt, telling her she had to pretend to be his girlfriend at a wedding. Tonight, she would meet his father, the man who controlled half of Seoul's underground. Tonight, she would walk into a room full of killers and smile like she belonged there. And the worst part? The absolutely terrifying part? She was starting to think she might actually belong. But to understand how a girl from Accra ended up as the fake girlfriend of Seoul's most dangerous man, you have to go back. Back to the night everything changed. Back to the moment Maya's big break became her worst nightmare. Back to the beginning. 3 days earlier, Maya had been invisible. Just another struggling artist in a city of 9 million people, trying to make her Ghanaian mother proud and prove that leaving home wasn't a mistake. She painted in a cramped studio apartment in Ep.1, survived on instant ramen and cheap coffee, and dreamed of the day her work would hang in real galleries instead of just Instagram feeds. Then she got her shot. Her first solo exhibition at a small gallery in Gangnam. Not huge, but it was hers. Her paintings, vibrant portraits of African women reimagined in traditional hanbok, blending her heritage with her adopted home, would finally be seen. She'd worked 3 years for that moment, waited tables, taught English to kindergartners who called her Maya teacher, and painted until her fingers cramped and her vision blurred. She should have been celebrating. Her roommate Jenna, a British teacher she'd met at orientation, had invited her to drinks in Hongdae. But Maya wanted everything perfect. Just one more adjustment to the lighting. One more check of the placements. Perfectionism, her mother always said, would be her downfall. Mama Osei was right. The gallery was quiet at 11 p.m. The exhibition didn't open until Friday, which gave Maya 2 more days to obsess over every detail. She was adjusting the spotlight on her grandmother's portrait when the lights flickered. Then they went out completely. Maya reached for her phone, but before she could turn on the flashlight, she heard it, the sound of glass shattering. Heavy footsteps. Voices speaking rapid Korean she couldn't quite catch. Something in her gut screamed danger. That same instinct that told her not to walk down dark alleys alone, not to get into unmarked taxis, not to trust men who smiled too widely. So instead of calling out, instead of announcing her presence like a normal person would, Maya did something that would save her life and ruin it at the same time. She hid. The storage room door was already cracked open. Maya slipped inside, pressing herself against the wall, leaving just enough space to see through the gap. Her heart hammered so loudly she was certain whoever was out there would hear it. 2 men appeared in her line of vision, dragging a third between them. The third man wasn't moving. Maya's breath caught in her throat. No, no, no. This couldn't be happening. Not here. Not at her exhibition. Not on the night that was supposed to change her life. One of them said, "Get rid of him." Maya's Nollywood-watching habits, her guilty pleasure, the Nigerian films she streamed late at night when homesickness hit, meant she understood enough Korean to know exactly what she was witnessing. A murder. Or the aftermath of one. The men were professional, efficient. They moved like they'd done this before, many times before. They pulled plastic sheeting from the construction supplies near her new installation, and Maya watched in horror as they wrapped the body with practiced ease. No hesitation. No remorse. No humanity. She should have closed her eyes. Should have looked away. But she couldn't. It was like watching a car crash in slow motion, terrible and mesmerizing and impossible to ignore. One of the men said something about a traitor, about justice, about sending a message. The other one laughed, actually laughed, and said something about the Han River. They were going to dump the body in the river. The same river Maya walked beside on Sunday afternoons, where couples took selfies and street vendors sold tteokbokki, and everything was supposed to be safe and beautiful. Maya's hands shook as she gripped her phone. Should she call the police? But what would she say? Her Korean was good enough for ordering food and asking directions, not for reporting murders. And by the time she explained, these men would be gone. She'd just wait. Wait until they left. Then she'd call someone, anyone. One of the men looked up. Their eyes met through the crack in the door. Time stopped. For one horrible, endless second, Maya stared at the man who'd just helped wrap a corpse, and he stared back at her. She saw the exact moment recognition flashed across his face. The moment he realized they had a witness. He shouted, "Hey!" Maya didn't think. Didn't plan. Her body moved on pure survival instinct. She burst out of the storage room, hit the emergency exit at a dead run, and sprinted into the rain-soaked Seoul night. The last thing she saw before darkness swallowed her was Kang Tae-hyun's face, expressionless and beautiful and terrible, watching her fall like she was the most interesting thing he'd seen all night. Then nothing. Hi, loves. If you're already hooked and can't wait to see what happens to Maya next, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Will Tae-hyun kill her or keep her? Drop your predictions in the comments. Trust me, you do not want to miss episode 2. Now, let's get back to Maya's nightmare, or is it? Maya woke to silk sheets. Her eyes flew open, and she jolted upright, immediately regretting it as her head spun. She wasn't dead. She was in a bedroom, a bedroom suite, that looked like it belonged in a luxury hotel. Floor-to-ceiling windows revealed a Seoul skyline at dawn, and she was wearing different clothes. A soft cotton shirt and pants that definitely weren't hers. The door opened, and she scrambled back against the headboard. A woman entered carrying a tray. She was elegant, maybe in her 50s, with kind eyes that seemed at odds with everything else. "You're awake. Good. You should eat." "Where am I?" Maya's voice came out hoarse. "Who changed my clothes?" "I did. You were soaking wet." The woman set the tray on the bedside table. "I'm Mrs. Lim. I manage Kang Tae-hyun's household." "Kang Tae-hyun?" "The man from the alley." Maya's hands fisted in the sheets. "Look, I don't know what you people do, and I don't want to know. Just let me go back to." "You can't go back." Mrs. Lim's expression turned sympathetic. "Not anymore. Eat. You'll need your strength." She left before Maya could respond. Maya stared at the food, traditional Korean breakfast, perfectly arranged, then at the door. She tried it. Locked. The windows didn't open. Her phone was gone. She was in a gilded cage 40 stories above Seoul, and nobody knew where she was. Her roommate Jenna would assume she'd pulled another all-nighter at the gallery. The gallery owner wouldn't miss her until Monday. She had 3 days before anyone would even start looking. The lock clicked. Maya grabbed a ceramic vase from the dresser, ready to swing it at whoever came through. Tae-hyun stepped inside, now wearing a crisp white shirt and dark slacks, looking like he'd just stepped out of a business meeting rather than a crime scene. His eyes flicked to the vase in her hands, and something that might have been amusement crossed his face. "You're brave. I'll give you that. Let me go." Maya kept the vase raised. "I won't say anything. I'll leave Korea. You witnessed a kill. You saw my men's faces. You saw mine." He closed the door behind him, leaning against it with casual confidence. "Do you understand what that means? It means you're going to kill me. Maybe." He tilted his head, studying her like she was a puzzle. "Or maybe I'll keep you." The words sent ice down her spine. "Keep me? I'm not a pet." "No." He pushed off the door, walking toward her slowly. Maya tightened her grip on the vase, but he stopped just out of reach. "You're a complication. The question is what kind." "I want to go home. Back to Ghana. I'll disappear. You're an artist." It wasn't a question. "I had someone check." Maya Ose, 26. Came to Seoul 3 years ago on an art scholarship. Struggling to make it. Last night was supposed to be her big break. The fact that he knew all that made her blood run cold. "If you've done your research, then you know I'm nobody. Killing me would be a waste of." "I don't waste anything." He moved closer, and Maya finally swung the vase. He caught her wrist effortlessly, his grip firm but not painful. They stood frozen, inches apart, and Maya realized 2 things. 1, he smelled like expensive cologne and rain. 2, he could have snapped her arm but chose not to. "Listen carefully," Tae-hyun said, his voice dropping to barely above a whisper. "The man we killed last night betrayed his family. He sold information that got 3 of my father's men executed. Justice was served." "That's not justice. That's murder. In my world, they're the same thing." He released her wrist, stepping back. "You have 2 choices. Stay here where I can control what you know and who you tell, or I let Minwoo finish what he started." "That's not a choice. It's the only one you have." He turned toward the door, then paused. "Mrs. Lim will bring you anything you need. Don't try to escape. This building has 30 floors, and every person in it answers to me." "Why?" Maya couldn't stop herself from asking. "Why not just kill me?" Tae-hyun looked back, and for a moment, something flickered in his cold eyes, something she couldn't read. "I haven't decided if you're worth killing yet." The door closed behind him with a soft click. Maya sank onto the bed, still clutching the vase, her whole body shaking. She'd come to Seoul to chase her dreams, to prove that a girl from Accra could make it in the international art world. Instead, she'd walked into a nightmare. A nightmare with a beautiful monster's face. Days blurred together. Maya refused to eat the first day out of spite, but hunger won eventually. Mrs. Lim brought books, art supplies, even her own clothes from her apartment, which meant someone had broken in. The thought made her sick. Tae-hyun didn't return, but his presence filled every corner of the luxurious prison. She heard his name whispered by the staff, felt the weight of his power in every locked door. On the 4th night, the door opened after dinner. Tae-hyun stood there in a black suit, blood spattered across his white shirt. "Get up," he said. "You're coming with me." Maya's heart stopped. "Where?" "A wedding." His smile was sharp and cold. "You're going to pretend to be my girlfriend, smile pretty, and keep your mouth shut. If you try to run or signal for help, I'll kill everyone in the room and make you watch." He said it so casually, like he was discussing the weather. "Why would you?" "Because my father wants to meet the woman who's been living in my penthouse." Tae-hyun's jaw tightened. "And what my father wants, he gets." He tossed a garment bag onto the bed. Inside was a dress, designer, black, probably worth more than her entire art collection. "You have 20 minutes. Maya stared at the dress, then at the blood on his shirt, then at the door he'd left open. This was it. Her chance to scream, to run too. "Your roommate Jenna is safe, by the way," Tae-hyun called from the hallway. "I'd hate for that to change." The door closed. Maya's hands trembled as she reached for the dress. She was going to meet the head of a crime family, pretend to be the girlfriend of a killer, and somehow survive the night without getting herself or Jenna killed. She slipped into the dress. It fit perfectly. Of course it did. 20 minutes later, Tae-hyun returned in a fresh suit, the blood gone like it had never existed. His eyes swept over her, and something flickered in them, surprise, maybe appreciation, before his expression locked back into cold indifference. You clean up well. You're a monster. Yes. He offered his arm like a proper gentleman. But tonight, I'm your monster. Try to remember that. Maya took his arm because she had no choice, and together they walked toward an elevator that would take her deeper into a world where love and death wore the same face. The elevator descended, and Tae-hyun's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and his expression darkened. Change of plans, he said quietly. Someone just put a price on your head. Every gang in Seoul is looking for the witness from the gallery. Maya's breath caught. What? How? There was a security camera I missed. His voice was eerily calm. Which means the only way to keep you alive now. The elevator doors opened to a room full of dangerous-looking men in expensive suits. Is to make sure everyone knows you belong to me. Before Maya could process what that meant, Tae-hyun pulled her close and kissed her hard, possessive, claiming in front of everyone. When he pulled back, his eyes held a warning and a promise.
Welcome to the family, Jagia.
Wait. Before Maya walks into that room full of killers, I need you to do something for me. If you're sitting there with your heart racing, wondering if Maya's going to survive this wedding or if Tae-hyun is going to protect her or destroy her, subscribe right now and turn on that notification bell. Episode 2 drops soon, and trust me, you do not want to miss what happens when Maya meets Tae-hyun's father. Will she play the role convincingly? Will someone recognize her? And what about that kiss? Was it just for show, or is something darker brewing between them? Drop a comment below telling me, are you Team Maya should run or Team Maya should stay? Where are you watching from? Accra? Seoul? Somewhere else? What do you think happens at this wedding? Hit that like button if you're already addicted to Maya and Tae-hyun's twisted story, and share this with someone who loves dark romance with a K-drama twist. Remember, every subscriber helps me bring you more soulful stories. See you in episode 2. And find out if Maya survives the night.